I was in third grade when the last time I got in a real fight. No, I was in, fifth grade, fourth grade, something like that with that Nick kid.
It was fourth grade.
I beat that kid. It was awesome. He hurt Ella. He didn't, I'm surprised he didn't go to the ER actually, because he did hit his head. He probably has brain damage now.
That's the only time you ever did fight is if somebody came after your sister.
Or the one time that kid kicked me in the face on the bus. Yeah, that was the first time. That was the first time I actually beat someone up. Like, I had fought people, but I'd never beat someone up.
So what you're saying is you don't like getting kicked in the face.
No. Especially by a kid. Dang it. Especially by a kid who would like constantly, because I rode the same bus every day. He would mess with me and mess with me and mess with me. And then one day as I'm walking by, he says my name. And I stop and I look at him. I turned actually fully towards him. And he was laying down in his bus seat and just kicked me square in the face. And I think he was expecting me to fall or like to, freak out. But I remember just like feeling it, my head coming back, looking back at him and like blank. I don't remember anything after that. I do remember when I got called into the principal's office later that day and they showed me the camera footage on the bus where so he's laying down in the seat. I lifted my leg up and just kept kicking him while he was in the seat and then started leaning over him and just wailing on him until he fell out of the seat. And then I backed up, looked at him, nodded, and walked off the bus. And so we had these bus monitors, right? And they were students, volunteers, who were supposed to count how many kids came off the bus to make sure everyone got off the bus. I looked at the kid and said something. The kid said, I said like, hey, this guy's still on the bus. He kicked me in the face. That's what this is about. I was bleeding from the nose. And he was like, huh? And he goes running on the bus and I just walked away. For a kid, I looked like such a badass. I was like, this dude kicked me in the face, didn't even care, beat him, let him go on the floor, was like, okay, he's still breathing, and walked away.
You're not supposed to stick around and admire your handiwork.
Not like that. Like, I just looked, I was like, okay, he's not dead, and then just walked away.
And even if he was, he shouldn't have kicked you in the face.
Exactly.
Huh.
He was wearing All-Stars too, Converse.
Well, I think it would have been worse if he was wearing. If he was wearing, make sure I'm not getting a nasty look. I don't know why. I wouldn't do nothing about it anyways. I'd probably beg for forgiveness. That's all.
Nah, and the other time, so we were at my friend's birthday party, and one of the kids in our class, this was in 4th or 5th grade, his name was Nick. He was notoriously a jerk. There was this big like water slide, like the inflatable water slides, and my sister had just gone down it and was at the bottom, and she was about to get off, and he yells, and her leg was stuck in like a little, like there's a cutout in the bottom of it where her foot was like stuck in it and she was trying to get out, and he was like, you better get out of the way, I'm coming down. If you don't get out of the way in 3, and he starts counting down. I'm at the bottom and I'm looking up and I'm like, don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. And he slides down, goes right into her. She gets like, kicks her in the face coming down. Like, I was so mad. I jump up on the slide and he's wearing one of those like, rash guard shirts. I picked him up off the ground with his rash guard, looked down, and I was like, if you ever touch her again, you won't. I said something. It was, but I remember it was, if you ever touch her again. And he's like looking at me like, what the heck? And I just threw him off the thing into the mud, and he landed on his back and he got up. And he was so mad, and he looked at me like he was going to do something, and then he just walked away, and everyone was like looking at me like I was a monster, and then looking at him like, dang, dude, he really going to take that? And he walked away. I didn't even get in trouble either. He didn't say anything. Don't touch my sister, man.
Yeah.
You touch my sister, that's the line. Basically, that's the thing. Don't kick me in the face. Don't mess with my sister. My family.
I got into a bar fight. I came home from Iraq the first time, and my brother was home visiting my mother, and me, my stepfather, and my brother, were my stepfather's friends, went out drinking. Got into a bar fight. It was shitty. Go out for a nice night.
I didn't know bar fights still like actually happen.
Yeah, man. If you're enough of a dick, a bar fight can happen.
I want to witness a bar fight. Like I want to. I don't want to be part of it. I just want to see it.
Well,
We need to get on
usually-
topic, don't we? She's
That would
giving me
be
a look.
fantastic if you would get on topic. Thank you for that. Not that absolutely tell bar fight stories, because that's fantastic. But could you introduce the topic? That would be great.
On missions, they called him Teacup.
Listen here, because I got some shit to tell you.
Now, he's telling the boys what he knows.
Wait, what?
This is Teacup Talks.
So
All
you're
right.
working now, you're making money, you're balling out of control. You just bought a car,
I did.
balling out of control. Nice car too.
I'm about to go and buy a lift kit for it, actually.
I don't fucking get you fuckers. I don't.
For those of you listening, I have bought a 2015 Subaru Forester. So, which is, they're pretty capable. And I think I could make it even more capable.
Listen, it's a good car, all-wheel drive.
Yep.
It's got good gas mileage,
Very good gas mileage.
and it's got room for you to put all your stuff, all the stuff that you need to put in there and all that stuff. And the cars last forever. Subaru's notorious for having cars that last forever.
It's fun. It's
So, yeah. Overall, I think it's a good buy. Now, when you start talking all this crazy stuff like, hey, I'm going to put a lift kit and I'm going to do all this stuff, first off, you ruin the structural integrity of that vehicle. Like it is, the height that it's at now is very specific to the design of the car. You start adding height to it, it becomes a tippy car.
but it looks cool.
Yeah.
I've looked into it actually. So when you lift them, you end up putting, because it's a unibody car, you end up having to not just do a suspension lift, but pretty much unbolt the subframe or something from the car and then put these little spacers in. So it doesn't it doesn't hurt the structural integrity too much.
I'm just worried about like you.
It will make it tippy a little bit.
Yeah.
It won't flip obviously
yeah.
because it's still low to the ground. It's not like a truck, but
Well, see, no, it's not as low as it's supposed to be. So now, like these, getting on and off the highway, for example, taking those turns, like if you're not doing 25 or 35 or whatever the recommended speed limit is, you've increased your chances for a rollover.
you might like that then. I'll be forced to go the speed limit.
I guess. You're not gonna. You're gonna fuck up. Listen,
It's going to be a minute because the lift kit's expensive, so I have to. It's even a little outside of what I can do.
yeah. Well, this is what I'm telling you, man. You gotta. You're over here talking about you got a perfectly good car, operates just fine, and you want to take your hard-earned dollars and instead of investing it in something that will have a return on investment, you're going to take that money and buy lift kits and all this other shit. Are you going to do the work yourself?
Oh yeah,
Oh, okay. So you're going to save a little money there.
I like doing it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you like that stuff. And I mean, ultimately, my concern is like money. Because like right now, while you think you ball out of control, you're not. You're poor.
I'm not that bad. Dang.
Yeah, you are.
We're not going to talk about how much is actually in my account at the moment because this last week was bad.
Well,
I have a spending problem and I know it.
so that's not just you. We all do it. But like, fortunately for you, you still live at home. Mm-hmm. But
Although I want to move out,
well, and that's the thing.
How do you, so actually here, then how do you do that? So like, how do you, how do you afford that kind of thing? How do you plan for that kind of thing? Cause that's a lot. Like I started looking into it and I can't quite figure out like the process there.
Oh, for me, it was super easy.
Oh.
I was drinking one night when I was 17, having a good old time with my brother when we drove home. And everything was good. We made it back. But my brother was stupid. Instead of just going straight to his room and mind his own business, he decided that he was going to go and make something to eat and, do all this wazoo stuff.
Sorry, taking mental notes real quick.
And then,
Don't go get something to eat. Go straight to bed.
yeah, man. You don't announce all your wrongdoings. And that was an easy way to announce it. The kitchen was closed. The light was on. The light over the sink. That light was on. The kitchen was closed. And this bastard goes in there. So my mother finds out he was drunk, and she came in, and I was in my bed, and she was, yelling at me. And I was like, oh, I don't know what's going on now. She goes, are you drunk too? I was shit-faced. And she started going to town. I think I got hit like 5 or 6 times. Little fists of fury. And she kicked me out. So I went and lived with a friend for a little bit. So it was super easy for me, when you're thrust, at your own doing, of course. This was my own doing. I was thrust out of my comfort. But see, you're looking to do it yourself.
Yeah.
And so for me, I had a job. I was working. And I went and stayed with a friend for a little bit. And then, I think I ended up going to Florida. I stayed with my dad for a little bit in Florida. And I was a car salesman and all that stuff. But anyways, the point is you have to save money. And I think a lot of times people don't realize how much shit costs because you don't pay for it now. You know what I mean? Or if you do pay, you're paying a partial payment if your parents are making you do that. I don't think your parents make you do that, right?
Some of it. So like, every month for the things that like they get, right? So grocery wise, I pay $70 a month to try and help with, a little bit with my part. But then I also I pre-make lunches.
I look at you, dude. You are more than $70 a month of food.
Well, but here's the other thing. So I make my own lunches and other meals to take with me to work, or sometimes that I just, because we'll have leftover nights or whatever, where it's just whatever you want. So I make some of that myself, and also all the extra stuff I buy for myself. I didn't last weekend, but the weekend before I did a big grocery run myself. I'm going to start paying rent. I forget what we agreed on, but it was some percentage of whatever we were paying for rent. So I started doing that to help out. So clothes and stuff, that's on me. And I actually kind of prefer that because I get to pick what I want,
Well, you're a grown man. You should be picking what you...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's...
You know what? It's a little weird if your mom is still... I mean, to each his own, I guess.
Hey, Mom, can I get these very specific jeans, please?
There's people that do it. I mean, to each his own. I'm not gonna, you know what? Listen, with the cost of clothing and everything, if I could get my mother to still pay for my clothes.
Nah, she was like, all right, when I turned 18, she was like, all right, you're 18. This stuff's on you now. You're getting paid.
And I
was like, cool. I'm cool with it. Cause I was cool with it. Cause she was very, I guess, nice with it, and was like, she didn't come and all right, it's all on you now. She was like, all right, hey, I know you want to go get this thing. I'm not going to pay for that. That's on you. And then I had to really think, and I was like, do I actually want it then? Do I actually want to, can I afford that?
So, and this is what we got to do, man. We got to realize that we're not really ballers. The only reason why you ball is because you don't have to pay rent. Mm-hmm. And rent is, on average, all these analysts and economists say that rent shouldn't be more than 25% of your yearly.
Ideally, that's what I've heard.
But it's more than that. And I was talking to one of our classmates. He was talking to me about you know, how he wanted to move out with his girlfriend and everything. And I tell everybody this. I tell everybody the same thing when they say something crazy like this to me. You know, a young person, anyways. Have you thought about the average cost of rent where you want to live? You know? And he said, yeah, well, we looked at it, and I said, okay. I said, how much money do you make a year? I said, you don't have to tell me. Just, you know the number. Because your rent in this area is going to be like $40,000 a year.
Yeah. Probably more than that.
There's some places you can, I mean, you're not going to enjoy those places.
Like,
and this is the thing, man.
Like the apartments that are near our house are about, I think they're about 2,000.
If you got to do what you got to do. So you might not always live in the best place, but that's fine, dude. You're 19, 20 years old. You belong in a shitty place, to be frank. That's where you make shitty money. You live in a shitty place.
I've noticed it.
That's a driver. That, like, if you don't want to be in that location, that should be your driver.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm telling you. Right now, you're talking about upgrading your car. That logically makes no sense, and you're a logical person.
Well, for me, it does in a way, because I do load it down with stuff. So I want to upgrade the suspension anyway. And this goes into something else. So a lot of people, especially my age and in my generation, on the more older side of it, have started doing things like living in vans and stuff because...
Yeah, but you're not living in that Subaru. Come on, dude.
I could for a year.
No.
Think about it. That would be a super cool life for like a year or so. Travel around the country, like put a cool, like, have you seen these rooftop tents?
You and I have different ideas of what is cool.
Oh, I would have so much fun.
Ugh.
Go from here to Alaska and back. Think about that. Like go across, go up and like across through Texas and the West, and then go up California. Do a whole big loop.
I've done a lot of this stuff already. And that's why I'm not interested, I suppose.
See, but that Subaru, I could go and mod that thing out. It'd be cool.
Yeah, but
I'm also in a sweepstakes right now. I paid $25 for a raffle ticket to get a pre-built Mercedes, what are those called? Sprinter van that's been modified as like a giant.
I suppose that's an investment.
Dude, it was $25. I had just gotten paid when I saw it. I was like, $25.
I feel like you're not doing this right. You are not doing this right.
I will say though, that would be a lot less than 25%. No, it's not actually, when I think about how much I'm getting paid right now.
Listen,
but the other thing is you can't really get paid doing that.
No, you're talking about driving across country. What are you going to do for work driving across? Listen.
People make YouTube channels. I don't want to do that. I could write though.
Yeah, but we're talking about the average person can't do this.
People, dude, there are people, someone did the math, and I wish I had the numbers in front of me for that, but someone did the math on how much you can make on YouTube, and you don't even have to be like wildly successful. And it's enough to live on the road easily and still be able to put money away. Because it costs less to live on the road than it does to live in a real house in most places in the US. Right? It's insane that you can live.
No, what's insane?
Paying for everything that you do.
What's insane is right now, you are literally trying to convince me that you could turn that Subaru into a livable space that you drive across the country for a year whilst making money as a YouTuber.
Not me. I wouldn't. I don't think I'd be a good YouTuber.
No.
But I could write. I'd be a good writer. Dude, put out a book? That's passive income right there. I know about passive income.
I
watch those YouTube financial videos.
And listen, and I wish all those great things for you. I wish that you could put out a pamphlet or a book or whatever you wanted to do.
A novel.
And you would make all the money in the world. Here's some facts for you though, okay? You're right now, the rent in your lifetime is going to be around $230,000. You're talking about taking a year. You are talking about taking a year away from real potential and earning to maybe have a YouTube channel. Maybe it would be successful. Most aren't.
I know though that for me, because it would depend on the person, right? But for me, I think I could do it.
And what afterwards?
Whatever I want. Dude, that's the thing. I also went to a trade school, right?
Yeah.
I have skills that I can take anywhere in the world and can have a decently paying job. I mean, think about it. I've taken a marine class that not only taught me about boats, but taught me about engines, which everything in the world runs on engines. While I was at it, I learned carpentry, fiberglass work, metalworking, and then took a welding class. That skill alone, I could work anywhere in the world. So after I'm done, if I'm like, after I'm globe trotting or whatever, doing the fun stuff, right? I could come back and be like, all right, now I can actually be a real adult.
How long would you globe trot, you say?
Let's see.
We've gone way past what we were doing.
I feel like I think the longest I could go would be about 5 years before I'm like, okay, I need a place permanent. But
so 5 years of globe trotting.
I'm talking everything from driving. I learned how to sail in that time, get a sailboat, sail the world.
So globe trot for 5 years, do all some kinds of jackassery. Come back, and what are you going to do? You're going to walk into a place and be like, hey, 5 years ago, I took a welding class.
Oh, nah. So while doing that, like, think about it. So my little welding machine, have you seen it? It's tiny. So, like, and I love doing it as a hobby, too. So I'd be doing stuff while I'm on, because it's not like you're staying in one place for a day, right? There are going to be places like if you're trying to get somewhere. But if I'm going, let's say, to Alaska, again, it's the problem being it's so expensive to live now that it costs the same or less to live on the road going places.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
How long do you want to live?
That got deep really fast. I don't know.
I don't think it went that deep.
I don't think it's about the length. I think it's about how much you do.
No. It is about the length. We're going to get into it, bud. Answer the damn question. How long do you plan on living? And I think,
I don't know. I think maybe I could see myself living to be about 60.
What?
Because I don't want to live a long time. I don't like.
Well, you can
here's
make
the thing.
You can make the ending anytime you want.
I mean, yeah, but
you're
I don't
saying
want to live a long, boring life. I would rather live a short, interesting life.
All right. So what are you anticipating that you're gonna like die of a heart attack or something?
No,
I'm not saying like. Life expectancy right now is, I think, 76 in the United States or 75 for men.
So the average life, last time I read, the average life expectancy for my generation is 125 years old because of how modern medicine has progressed.
That can't be accurate because that can't be a life expectancy because nobody has lived that long. And then like you would need a large group of people to have lived that long to become an expectancy.
It's
because we expect.
This is not on the record. I'm right.
Sorry, I'm just going to pop in here. And according to the New Daily, the members of Generation Z, the oldest of which are now in their 20s, on average are expected to live to 100 and beyond.
We're expected to live a very long time. And I don't want to live with that number in my head of like, I want to live that long, or I could see myself living that long. I would rather, see the world. I would rather do cool things in my life. And then, because we don't know what's after.
Okay,
right?
let me ask you this.
I want to get to that place.
No, I'm going to rephrase this question. But, because, all right, we're saying life expectancy, we expect these people to live until they're 100. I don't see that happening because cancer rates in this country amongst young people has grown exponentially. And,
True.
And more people are dying from these cancers than surviving them. Then we also have to think that like we're not outpacing replacement anymore. So So I don't know who's going to be the young doctor that's saving your life to 100.
It's more the fact that we can keep people on like life support.
Well, that doesn't sound.
Exactly.
I said, how long do you want to live?
I don't have a number.
I think like when you're all old and can't hardly move. I mean, you're not really.
What's the point, right?
You're not really
point, you're
living.
not living,
but you're still alive. You're going to have to pay for that life, though. So whether or not
I don't want to. I don't. If I get to that point, though, I don't want that. I don't want to. Because that's not living.
So
that's surviving.
So what are we saying? We're going to commit suicide at that point?
If I get to the point of basically being a vegetable,
that's not vegetable,
not vegetable, but like I'm not able to basically live on my own. I'm not able to support myself. Then you're not living anymore. You know, you're just existing.
You know what's interesting about this? Because you're young, you really haven't experienced like death, really. And so, like,
hold on,
so
that's not true.
So it's easy because you're young. You can't see this.
So let me give you some backstory on me real quick. When I was in middle school and high school, mostly middle school, in a span of about a year, 2 years really, I lost my grandfather, who I was very close to, lived just down the road. Lost my aunt and my uncle, both same, both of which were cancer.
So they were probably fairly young.
Yes.
How old were they?
About 45.
Okay.
My grandfather had Parkinson's. He was...
How old was he?
He was 80 something. I don't remember. I feel bad that I don't remember. But, which I also saw how long they were able to keep him going.
Yeah.
And it was towards the end, he wasn't living.
All right. So 80 something.
And same thing with my aunt and my uncle. Meanwhile, while this is happening, one of my friends, or a couple of years later, one of my friends committed suicide. And then another one relatively recently died in a motorcycle crash.
All right.
I know a lot about,
so we have,
I understand death.
So we have a bunch of expected deaths, right? Which I think we can cope with.
I wouldn't say expected because one of them that had cancer was also murdered. So
yeah, I'm familiar with this story now.
yeah.
Listen, you're not going to break me, okay? I'm not going to sit
Not
here.
trying to break you.
I'm not
just
going to
like,
sit here
if you're gonna come at
and
me
try
and
to
say,
feel
I don't
bad
know
for you.
something.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, expected deaths versus sudden deaths, unexpected deaths that, for a young person wasn't supposed to happen. I think as you start to get older, I think you're going to appreciate life a little more and you'll want to have that part of that life. Like, so,
But is that life when you get to be that old?
Of course it is. That's insanity. But that's young people talk right there. Because I would say the same dumb shit.
So you would, for real, if you got to the point where all you can do all day.
Dude, I
just
told my
sit in your
medic, if I lose a leg, we can save me.
Oh,
if
no.
I lose an arm, let me go.
Oh no, I totally want to lose a leg. I want to have a peg leg.
But here's the thing.
Dude, I get the springy legs like they got in the Olympics, Honestly, if I lost one leg, I'd want them to cut the other one off so it matches.
That guy killed his girlfriend.
Who are we talking about? What? I was talking about
Oscar Pistorius.
Never heard that name in my life.
He's the springy leg guy from the Olympics.
They all have springy legs.
Oh, you're talking about the Special Olympics?
Yeah.
They all don't have springy legs.
Like the runners, they get the little the spring leg.
Some of them do. The ones that are missing legs that have spring legs.
Yeah, but they all are like in the thing together. They get the springy legs.
You're painting with a broad brush here, son.
I mean, there's also a lot of, you got to paint with a broad brush when there's so many people doing it,
I know.
But I would totally have a spring. I'd have a peg leg.
So Oscar Pistorius was an Olympic athlete who had springy legs and murdered his girlfriend. He was from South Africa. I think he just got released from prison.
Yeah. I'm getting a nod from the director.
I think, yeah. So.
Sorry, producer, not director.
Anyways, so your experiences with this are going to be different. And like, if you ask your grandfather, if you could ask your grandfather, if when he was 80 and still of solid mind, and I don't know if he was, I don't know how.
He was there.
Okay, so.
That dude was sharp right until the end.
Are you telling me he was sharp with his mind, but I bet you he was slow as hell?
He couldn't move.
Yeah, you telling me he obviously felt life was worth living. When we get to that point, you'll change your tune. Anyways. If you say, hey, I'm going to probably live until I'm about 80, okay? Well, you have to live. So you got to eat, right? You got to pay for a roof over your head. And, you know, the way it looks right now, we might not have Social Security at that point. So you got to plan. Right now, what you're talking about doing is going on, and I know a lot of people in your generation are doing this. They take this time and they got to go find themselves.
While you're able-bodied. And I love it. I love the idea of traveling. I've been to a lot of places. I've met a lot of different kinds of people. I love eating food from all different kinds of places and stuff. The thing is at some point, you have to get your shit together and start a career because you're going to have to pay when you're 80. Now, if you're talking about going on a 5-year expedition and you say you're going to come back and like... at that point, you're way behind the curve. Like if you would have just stayed put and worked, you would probably be able to afford a house or a condo or something. And then you have property. But then that depends because to me, I would rather, and again, this is just like this, me and a lot of other people, my age group, I would rather have that experience now because again, like my buddy that died in a motorcycle accident, he was in his 20s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was just out of nowhere. I'm like, that kind of stuff can happen to anybody. And I would rather, you know, have that lore, right? Have that do the cool stuff.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get later in life, like have the stuff that's worth, if you had to write a book about yourself, right? Make that book good. Don't, you know, I don't want my book
Can I
to
ask you
just
something?
be...
Do you think your friend who was riding his motorcycle and passed away, do you think like he wasn't living his best life?
I think that he
was riding. He was riding a motorcycle.
For what he wanted, yeah. I
Sounds
think
like
he was
having
very
fun.
happy. Yeah. For what he wanted out of life.
So I think, yeah, but you used him as an example for why you need to go do something extreme. But yeah, see, you said 5 years. I don't. You're really not going to do that for 5 years. I think that's insane, right?
Yeah, I think that's stretching it.
Oh, okay, all right.
Ideally,
but like
a year or two.
Listen, I'm a fan of this, but what's going to end up happening is when you come back, you're kind of behind the curve. So people, your peer group now, and there's nothing really wrong with that.
I don't know, not really. Because think about some of the guys that are in our class, you know, like one of them, he's 21, 22. The one that isn't there anymore, he's 21. Like, you know, some of those guys were even older than that. I'll be cool. I'm 19. You know, I'm not even close to that. Heck, how can I say this? The one that has the blue F-150, he's 20. Yeah. You know, I would be 20 and.
That's the Generation Z thing that you're talking about, and you need to highlight that.
What's the Generation Z thing that we're...
What the paradigm that he's talking about, what he's presenting to you is a paradigm that is true for every single generation until yours. That there is a path that you follow, and if you get off of it and come back to it, you're going to be behind. But you guys don't have a path. You're the first generation that doesn't. That's what's in the information in front of you. You're the first one that's like, fuck it, we're just gonna do it.
They have a path. The path is just harder because things cost more. But the pay doesn't reflect what things cost. So like all of rent's gone up. The price of clothes has gone up.
I mean, these jeans were $50 a pair when I think you told me, Mom, like in the 80s, they would be worth, about $20-25. Right? $50 for these.
You bought the car. I don't know how much you paid for the car, but
about $18,000.
All right, that wasn't
for
bad.
a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
It's 10 years old and it's only got 50,000 miles on it.
Yeah, that's not
so
bad.
It was a really good deal. But I mean, I was looking at trucks before, which is really bad because a truck. What was that one? We went to a dealership actually and went and looked at a couple.
How many miles are on it?
Mine?
Yeah.
55,000.
18. That's not bad.
No, not at all.
But like, listen, look at the price of things, okay? So instead of like 19, stay here, stay with your folks, throw them a little money, because I wish I would have done this. Invest some money, right? Get with a financial advisor or something. We should have one. Come here and talk to us.
That'd be cool.
Anyways, get with a financial advisor and invest monies so that you can buy property. Here's the thing, dude. All this traveling and stuff, you can do this whenever.
You can't, though.
Yeah, you can.
Because to do the kinds of things that I want to do.
You can't go for a year and just be like, you know what, screw it, I'm done. But
why not?
When you're like 30, if you build a family.
Why couldn't I do it right now?
I mean, I'm saying you could. But it's gonna be a shitty trip, dude. You're broke.
What if I don't know? Because I know.
I feel like I'm back in the '70s watching people thumb for a ride or something. Like, you guys are going to a groovy concert. You're gonna thumb your way all the way.
It's the
like,
same
how are you
kind
gonna
of
get gas, dude?
I've already told you that's how I'm going to write. I can. There's so.
I feel like a boomer right now. You're gonna use your YouTube channel and get money? That's stupid.
You can make money off TikTok. People will pay. No lie, you could have a TikTok channel and have a Patreon, and people will just give you money because they like seeing you do this trip because they live vicariously through you because they are scared or not scared, but either they're scared or they can't do it.
Well, if those people,
or they've been told that they need to follow that set path and they can't do it. Or they feel like they can't do it.
I hope that the people that pay the other people to go on these vacations and they're living vicariously through them, I hope that they listen to this show. And I hope they stop doing that. And they take that money that they're giving to other people for their fucking trips and they save it and put it into an account and get their own goddamn trips. That is insane to me. That you would give money that you work your ass off for, and you don't have a lot of it. I saw a commercial for a company that is online. I can't remember the name of the company, and I don't know if I want to, but you go on there, and the girl was like in her closet pointing at things, at her clothes and her bags and her hat and all her bullshit, and she's like, that's going to a new dress. That's going out for clubbing. That's for rent. And I said to my wife, I'm like, people are selling their shit to pay their rent and go clubbing. Insanity. That's insane.
I mean, I wanted to get a new thing for my kayak, and I have some pretty valuable stuff from a sport I used to play that I would like to play, but I was looking at this stuff going like, that's still worth money now. And I was like, do I want to sell it? No, but I'm down to sell it because I can't make enough money to buy this thing.
You can make them. See, this is the other problem with this generation. You guys have to have it right now, right this second.
No, so
you say I don't have enough money. You got to save money, dude.
I'm trying to think of how to say this without revealing too much. If I make X amount of dollars per week, because I get paid weekly.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome, by the way. Most of our guys get paid. Most of our friends get paid bi-weekly. Getting paid weekly is awesome.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I think it's perspective, but
it makes doing my finances a little easier, I guess, in my head when I know like I'm gonna have this much coming on every week.
Yeah.
But
I was in the military. It was bi-weekly. I love bi-weekly, but I mean, perspective.
it's just confusing. Why does it have to? Why you can't pay me every week? If you can't pay me every week, then maybe you shouldn't be in business, bro. If we're worried that much about when you can pay me, maybe we're not making enough money. Which we can fix that. We can work together. That's why you pay me. You pay me to make you more money. But if you can't pay me, then maybe it's a problem. Maybe.
I don't even know what to say to that. I'm just enjoying.
Can I pop in here and tell you guys a couple of things?
I would love to hear a couple things.
This is going to blow Teacup's mind. He's about to go off. Are you ready?
Go.
As of January 2024, the monthly payouts on Patreon of people who are just supporting creators who are on Patreon, monthly, $23.6 million.
Wait a second. These are people that just give people money?
Yeah.
Well,
I've done it actually for people.
The concept is an artist. You are supporting content creators. It's like artists in Italy back in the day in Renaissance. They had a supporter. They had a patron who paid for their life so they could create their art. That's what Patreon is. And I just want to say one more thing, and I'm going to get out of y'all's conversation.
This is $23 million a month?
Yes.
What do these people do? Do I gotta like, they type in, "Hey, stand like this," and then I stand like that, and
No, it's if like for instance, there's
do they want my feet or something?
No, that's Feet Finder. That's a whole different thing. That's you're buying a product, not a service. In this case, you're buying a service, right? You are helping a person who you're basically paying for the person to be able to make the content that you like to watch or that you enjoy.
And people earn on average $315 to $1,575 a month, each creator on Patreon.
This
I
is
could live
blowing
on
my
the
mind.
road.
You said you had one more thing. What was the other thing?
That was it. That was the other thing.
So with that kind of, $1,500 to $300 a month off Patreon, that kind of thing. If you're living on the
how many
road-
people are on this?
Millions of people.
So millions of people are
But not-
splitting $23 million a month?
Sort of.
That's
because you're only you might only give $5. You might only give however much.
How
The
is
number
it?
of creators as of February 2024 on Patreon was 242,878.
We're talking about how many people are giving though.
That's how many creators. You want to know how many supporters there are?
Yeah.
Well,
As
I
of
guess
2022, there were 8 million.
So, like, there's a YouTube channel that I watch that it's this couple that sails the world.
That is depressing.
So they
This
sail
is
the world.
depressing.
They make a little bit of money off YouTube, and they actually broke down their finances in a video that I watched where they make more money off of Patreon than they do actually making YouTube, like making the videos. So basically, they end up using the YouTube money to do repairs and stuff on the boat. The things that happen every once in a while, replacing a bilge.
All these people do is sail around all day.
They sail to exotic locations. They actually, right now, they're planning a trip through the Northwest Passage, because now we're coming into summer. So, and people have been giving them money because they're prepping the boat. They did a partial re-rig. It's a big sailboat. It's like a 42-foot sailboat. Partial re-rig. There was something up with their engine that they needed to pay for. And, they just say that in the video. They're like, if you can support through Patreon so that we can fix this. And lo and behold, people watch the video and they're like, yeah, I can spend $5 or whatever. And when enough people do that, you have enough money to fix your engine. You have enough.
So they got on Patreon, right? Am I saying that right? Patreon?
Yeah.
They got on there. They convinced a bunch of people to buy them a boat.
Not a boat, buy parts for the boat, but yeah.
Where did they get the boat? They had to have a boat, right?
They bought the boat really cheap years ago, and it was in disrepair. And part of their channel was building the boat, and people wanted to watch them, restore this old boat. It's a 1978 model year boat. So, they filmed the videos as they're fixing things up, and they're talking about how they're doing it, and people are learning off of it too. Actually, when I was watching one of their videos, and really like watching them a lot.
And you said you paid people on this thing.
I have. I've supported.
Listen,
people
dude,
through Patreon,
I'm gonna tell you right
not
now.
by this though. It
You
was in
ever
Ukraine.
bitch to me about having money issues or I'm broke or any of this dumbass jackassery ever again, and then you come and tell me that you're giving money.
It wasn't to them though.
I don't give a shit who it was to.
I think you would.
Oh God! All right, now I'm interested.
It was to a unit in Ukraine that my buddy's in.
Okay, that's
They were about to go on an offensive, and they were buying plate
all
carriers.
right, that's different.
But it's the same platform.
No, okay.
It was on the same.
All right,
website.
but see that's righteous. Okay,
So is it not
you're
righteous?
giving no.
Is it not righteous to help
No,
someone?
it is not righteous to send somebody on a vacation that you long to do, but say to yourself you can't.
No, I know that I can do it, just not yet, and I'm willing to.
Oh, you'll never be able to do it because you keep giving money to the wrong people.
No,
you got to
I
give
would-
money to yourself.
No, I would give them money because I'm also learning from them and learning how they're doing it. So if I can sit there and absorb that, a lot of the stuff that I know about living on the road, living an adventurous kind of life like that, I know from watching these creators.
Yeah.
So I see it as, you're paying $5 or whatever, which you don't even have to. You can get it all for free. But you're
I'm not hating on them.
Donating. Yeah.
I am kind of hating on them. I just don't understand. Listen, I grew up fucking poor as fuck. Okay? So it's hard for me to rationalize giving somebody money to live a life that you wish you could in fact live. And then
I give them
at
money
the
to
same
learn.
time, hold on, at the same time, say, man, everything's so expensive these days. A gallon of milk is $5. A loaf of bread's $4. It used to be 50 cents. And you hear all these boomers talking all that dumb shit. And then,
the boomers who bought their house for a handshake, 7 raspberries, $1 or a $2 bill, and a word of recommendation to, I don't know, the pastor or something.
it was they probably paid like $5 or $6 grand for their house. Maybe 10.
They bought their house for what I spent on restoring my old car.
As your producer, I really just want to point out and make sure that the lovely Teacup is aware that some podcast shows are paid for by their Patreon subscribers.
Which I thought we were going to have.
There's one in particular that gets $111,403 a month from their subscribers.
month? Oh my.
So I don't know. Maybe just don't hate on Patreon.
You're going to take all that out, right?
Hey, 1C here, producer for Teacup Talks. Keep the show playing, but head on over to Patreon too, where you'll find a couple membership levels, including ways to get the show early and ad-free, and find Teacup out in the wild. Plus, there's swag. I'll put the link in this episode's description. And now, back to the show.
So anyways, guys, you should definitely support our Patreon that we're definitely going to have.
Hey, listen, Patreon is the way to go. Support our artists. They're trying to entertain and be able to bring joy to our lives.
And inform. Don't forget, inform and educate.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
need
Just
more buzzwords.
make sure Patreon stays around. Keep putting your stuff out there. We love it. We love it.
Don't mind him. He's a little old fashioned.
I'm yeah. Listen, it's not that I'm old fashioned, man. Well, yeah, I kind of am. But like, if you grew up with nothing, right? You would want to keep and try to grow whatever it is you have. So for me, what you're saying right now is some like first world white privilege shit. And I'm
going to tell you something funny.
And I don't, hold on, because I said that and I don't want to do a controversy here. I'm not trying to get all into a debate about privilege and all this shit. But what I'm saying is like, it is hard for me to hear, like, listen, dude, my mom used to keep a jar. She called it her runaway fund. It was a jar of pennies, dude. And
Of pennies?
yeah. And
Just
like
pennies.
pennies, dude.
Just pennies.
Listen,
No other
my
coins?
poor mother, we'd sit there and we'd roll these pennies so she could take them to the bank and get money so she could buy us food. And you're over here. This is why it's hard for me to understand, like, I want to go on a trip for a year or two and find myself. Bitch, find yourself at the goddamn boathouse or wherever the hell you work. That's where you find yourself.
It isn't though, because I
say that with all the love.
Yeah.
So
for me, and again, it fully is dependent on the person. But for me and a lot of other people in my generation, we've watched you guys and we've watched the boomers grow up and just be in that one lane, you know? When now, you know, there's been some road work done.
How old am I?
I have no idea. You're oh, yes, I do. You're 39.
39.
Because you say, well, if I was 40.
That's it.
Notice I didn't finish that.
Yeah, thank you. My wife's going to listen. So I have lived a pretty cool life. I've been working since I was 12, you know, little jobs, trying to get as much money as I can all the time. Just always trying to get money. And I've gotten it to where I'm at a point. You see me. I don't even really work.
You've told me before, you're like, I have no idea how much money I really have.
I don't know. Well, that's only because my wife takes care of all that stuff. And it's easier for me and probably her. Like, I don't have my hand in it. You know what I mean? I don't have my hand in it.
Yeah.
So there's no like, oh, is going and doing this.
Teacup?
Teacup? You get that one.
We should make it like we should make a sound, because you know how some like YouTubers have like a dolphin sound or something whenever you say something that you're not supposed to. Yep, we should have that. Make it be something.
Anyway,
not a dolphin.
Old teacup.
A duck. Like the not the sound I meant. You know the rubber ducky noise that like when you squeeze a rubber ducky. It should be that.
Listen. So we invest when you have money, right? And you see me, I'm pretty much doing what I want, man. Mm-hmm. Within reason. So like what I want to, and this is why you have to know what you want to do. You don't even know what you want to do yet.
I know what I want to do right now.
No, yeah,
I don't know what I'm going to want to do later.
But listen, man.
Is that English?
This is the thing that we have to think about. And this is why I'm a little worried for you. And honestly, the whole generation, honestly. Because
we're screwed.
No. You're not screwed. No. You guys see your parents and your grandparents bust their nuts, working their asses off and struggling.
And
right?
You guys did all that and then really for anything.
And you say for nothing.
Yeah. Because like you look at a lot of people and you look at like what did they do in their life, right? Like, and they didn't do anything. They started working at,
man, that's cold-blooded.
12, 14, whatever.
That's cold-blooded. They didn't do anything.
But think about it.
No, I am thinking about it. You said they didn't do anything. They did everything they wanted to do.
No, they didn't though. Because if you really ask them and you go, what did you want to do? And they'll be like, oh, I wish I could have done this. There's always something I wish I could have done. I wish I could have done. And they couldn't because they saw that line. They saw the world as a static object. And there was one option of what you could do. You go to school, you get a job, you buy a house, you build a family, you live that structured life. And we see that and we go, no, because you did all of that. And for what? You saw, you didn't move outside your town, or maybe you did, but you didn't do anything. You had no significant impact. You had nothing, and we look at that and we go, no, we want to do the cool stuff. We want to go see the world that we live in. There are people in this country.
See, that's the scary part. The significant impact.
I'll say this real quick. There are people from the town that I'm from that have literally never left that town. That town is only a few square miles. They've never left. Yeah, but they grew up. They went to They went to high school. They went to college in that town.
Nice.
They got out of college. They bought a house in that town. They married someone that they went to high school with, and they live in that town. They have kids who do the exact same thing.
What's wrong with that?
And they never leave.
What's wrong with that?
That's not a life.
It sure is. That's not your life. You don't want to do that, but there are people that want to do that.
People used to live lives. Let's think about this.
Mm-hmm.
let's think back to 1800s. Okay, 1800s America. Okay, people lived. And I know you're going to have a comeback to this, but people lived more interesting lives than they do now. People didn't.
What the hell does that mean? Are you saying because they got on a train and rode out west?
No, I'm saying that they, even with the jobs that they did things that mattered. You didn't have people doing dead-end jobs that did nothing because everything was needed. You didn't have, you didn't come home from work and look at your phone or watch TV or whatever. You came home from work and you spent time with your friends, your family, you cooked, you did things. And that's the kind of life that my generation wants to lead. That doesn't mean that we're not willing to struggle, because obviously those people struggle.
Oh no, you guys are willing to struggle because you guys want to take like a sabbatical and for 5 years, so you guys are super willing to struggle, and I like that about you.
But we don't want to live.
My generation is gonna make so much money off you fuckers.
my
you guys are just gonna give it to us.
To be fair, you guys also gave it to the boomers despite not wanting to. They just made you. They got in government. We're just like, here, give it.
Yeah.
Or you go to jail.
Hey, my generation's our time's coming. We're gonna be shining so bright.
You guys also didn't like fight for stuff. You guys were kind of like, nah, not like that, not like that. Not like that. You did.
Rethink your comments.
Let me put it. That didn't sound okay. For anyone that knows what I actually meant, I wish we had a comment section because you could put it better in written words.
How about this? How about you develop a comment section and you can update your own bullshit?
To be fair, my generation is also now fighting a war against a superpower. So I'm just talking about who has the cooler war now. Just saying.
Oh my fucking God. First off, your generation of who? Americans?
Some, yeah.
There's no Americans over there fighting.
Oh yeah, there are.
There are not.
Dude, we had a unit leave it was a Collier County unit. A bunch of volunteers that went and mostly of veterans who went over there.
Oh, you're talking about on their own volition.
Yeah.
Not supported by the government.
Yeah.
I like those. Yet. I know people that have done it.
No, but like my friend that's over there that I was telling you about that I donated to, this is the friend that I also told you got shot in the butt.
Yeah.
Which he's thinking about getting a tattoo now that has like a heart. It's because it's on his butt.
I want to go back to something real quick because it
But he's 22.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
You said something earlier that kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
I say a lot of things.
Usually it doesn't rub me the wrong way, though. Because you said, what did those people back in the previous generations, they stayed at their house and what did they live for? What were they doing? Well, some of those people lived for, I don't know, people like your mom. Some of those people live for people like you. So you are the thing that somebody did. So previous generations, I try to think about it like this. Because, like, I grew up super poor, and my mom had the worst life, probably. I'm saying that, but it's probably not true. But she didn't get to enjoy her life. She's exactly what you're describing. But if I ask her if she enjoyed it, she would say yes. Yeah, I have my sons. I got brothers. I got my 3 sons, and I had a good life. It was good. So what did we build? What did we make? What did we put our name on it? You're looking for glory. You're looking to be remembered through time.
No, I wouldn't say that.
It's kind of sounded like it. But here's the thing. The only way that you're going to be remembered through time, and it's only going to be probably like 100 years maybe, is if you have kids. But maybe longer, because your kids are probably going to live to 200.
I don't wish that on anybody. 200. Can we talk about that? They would live as long as, well, almost as long as this country's been around.
See, I don't buy this whole 125 thing. You know what?
I mean, think about it. We have people routinely living to 80s and 90s now. Heck, one of my family members is 103 and she's 105. Sorry, 105. And she shows no signs of slowing down. That woman, I'm pretty sure she's like a demigod or something.
I'm telling you right
Demigoddess.
now. Listen, I asked you that question. How long do you plan on living for? Because like you got to pay to live that long. Unless you euthanasia or something, but like you don't strike me as a person that could probably do that to yourself. So I don't, you got to pay to live.
I don't know, because I also look at it and I go, with the kind of life that you want to live.
And your generation, right? And part of my generation are canceling. You're canceling your parents right now, some of them, you know? And so, like, I mean, I wonder if these parents are going to give you their houses that they paid $5,000 for, or 10.
I don't need it, bro. I'm going to live in my car.
Yeah, well, everybody but you. I know you're going to live in your car down by the river, right?
River? Nah, try in the mountains, dude.
Dude, you don't ever intend on like getting married and have kids? No,
not within.
Not even get married. Not even get married.
Not within the next 5 years.
We're gonna have to look this up. But
think about that. I'll be 24. I think my mom got married at 24. Now that I think about it, sorry, 25.
There was a study done that said something about they were trying to determine what creates poverty. How does poverty continue?
Probably not having money, if I had to guess.
No, well, there's a few things that cause it, and it's like education, lack of education. So if your parents didn't have an education, you're unlikely to have an education, and if you don't have an education, you're more likely to be impoverished. So like things like that. If your parents were divorced, you're more likely to be impoverished because you were single family income. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of things that go into it, and I just I think if you start early, having kids and family and all that stuff, it's a struggle. I just think if you go live in a car for a couple years, I mean, I feel like that's almost like having kids at like 21. Like that doesn't make any sense.
Really not even in the car. It'd be a tent on top of the car. You ever seen those? They've gotten pretty high tech now. Like it's a whole like apartment on top of your car, fold out apartment. It's pretty cool.
Have you seen you?
Yes.
You know those are rated, like have weight ratings?
Yeah.
I think
thousands of pounds.
Really?
Yeah. The
roof racks?
The only thing the part that holds you back is the roof rack, but I've looked at some for mine.
Well, that's what everything's sitting on.
One of the ones actually, believe it or not, the tow rating for my car, hold on. The tow rating for my car is 1,500 pounds. I found a roof rack for my car that reinforces it to hold 2,000 pounds. Not that to hold 2,000 pounds on top of the car.
You can put a tiny house on top of your car, huh?
I mean, no, because I want it to be small. I want it
tiny houses are small.
No, I'm talking basically a bed on top of your car. Okay, look, smart ass.
Just telling you. And then you'll own property. And then I can be proud of you.
I own property. I own a car.
Yeah, that's a fool.
So anyways, I'm going to go buy a tent. I'm going to put it on top of my car, and I'm going to lift the car, and I'm going to do all the financial decisions that you've said not to do, but it's going to be sick. And I'm going to go live a life that is worthy of a Jack London book. That's the plan. And then after I do it for a while, then I'll be like, okay, now we need to actually, have a house, do that kind of thing. Because I also look forward to that too. So that's pretty cool. Being like the dude out there, being the dad mowing the lawn, that'd be pretty cool.
The dad mowing the lawn. You gonna find this woman on your expedition?
Sure, why not, dude? The more square miles you cover,
that's right.
The broader,
right.
The fishing hole is.
Oh God!
Always more fish in the sea, and then you make the sea bigger. Think about it.
All right. I wish I didn't have to hear all that. Listen. I have had friends that went and did like the Appalachian Trail hike and all that stuff, and they they've learned a lot about themselves. They learned a lot about, these are miniature survival things, right? And they learned a lot about themselves, and they went with other people, and they met a bunch of cool people that they've expressed great feelings and gratitude, because they all these people help each other out along this trail. So maybe something like that is up your alley, where it's only a few months and you try it out. But I just feel like your earning right now you need to save your money, and you need to.
And that's the thing, is that it would probably take me another 6 months of what I'm getting paid right now in order to be able to even really think about doing something like this. But the thing is, while doing that, I'm writing that book. I'm, building that YouTube channel or whatever that presence is that's going to pay for it. Because
you guys are so motivated, man. I'd be so friggin' terrified.
No, because it sounds fun.
But I also
sounds like such a fun existence. No. So much better than just like, working in a factory. Like nobody really, I don't think, wants to work. For
anybody listening, this is the difference between growing up maybe in the middle class and having a little bit of, a different perspective on things, and somebody that grew up.
I mean, it's also the generational difference, Is
it?
I think it is. Because, you said earlier, you basically said there is a, hold on. You said that there is a certain way to live life. You said that there is a path, and I don't think there is a path. I think that there is a parking lot, and you can drive around that parking lot however much you want.
Yeah.
Now, eventually, you do have to. There are boundaries of that parking lot.
It's just, your car is probably going to be a big piece of shit that you drive around this parking lot of life, and you're not going to enjoy it at some point.
Maybe you will.
Man.
Maybe you'll get to see some cool stuff in that parking lot,
And that's true. But like I also said, there are people, like the gentleman in our class that I mentioned, and he was talking about moving out with his girlfriend. As soon as I was talking to him about like the cost of everything, and he had to actually think about it, like his whole mindset changed. That dude's in saving mode, and hopefully, I think he's investing, but I don't know about that. I'm not 100% sure about that, but hopefully. And we can talk about that, investing, and we should have somebody in here for that.
We'll work on that.
Yeah, because we need that information.
Well, I think that's about all the time we've got for now.
All right, I gotta go anyways.
I'm gonna go spend too much money, and I'm going to go live I'm gonna live a Jack London book. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, good night.
That was a really good ending, by the way.
I try.
This is Teacup Talks on the 1C Story Network. School Teacup on the power of Patreon by joining the group at patreon.com/Teacup Talks. Or just go to teacuptalks.com for listen links and more. That's teacuptalks.com.
The 1C Story Network, for the love of stories.